Hello, everybody. It's Exterminate here from Team Copperhill Gaming. I'm here with Zach for a full podcast. At least I'm hoping it will be a full podcast. Um, I've been having a lot of inconsistencies with posting recently just because of CSGO, for me at least, is a very unpredictable game, and I have trouble reliably getting English, reliably doing well. And because of that, I haven't been posting very much of that. And I'm not sure how long CS:GO is actually going to continue as a series. It might actually pick up again once I get to level 3. But I'm playing other games for now, games that I enjoy more. But if that's all personal stuff that I might talk about more in an update video that might go out maybe Monday or Tuesday. But aside from that, let's go ahead and get into the main topic of the podcast, which is going to be the KN44, which I had mentioned before about we should talk about it and discuss how broken it is. So with me, unfortunately, I only have Zach, but I guess he'll suffice.
I hope so.
Well, if you didn't suffice, that would be, a little bit difficult to cope with, because I mean, you are kind of all I have.
And all you need.
Let's go with that. All right, so KN44. Let's first talk about the sights and what we think of the sights. Not necessarily just on this weapon, but the sights in general. So, reflex sight. What do you think is good about it? What do you absolutely hate about it?
It's probably the best sight in the game. It's certainly the best, just like general sight. Like no gun. There's no gun that when you put it on, it's like the wrong choice. It's very standard, and you get it's like the first attachment you unlock. So it's super early. It's very solid. The only thing I wouldn't like about it is that on some machine guns you don't want it because it reduces your ADS time. So that's just like, but a lot of SMGs you're going to be hip firing anyway, and it doesn't have that long of a range, but it's good enough for most weapons. So
yeah, especially for me, I never go into long range gunfights just because I don't have the the knowledge and the ability to be able to do that well at long range gunfights. And if I kill my target, it's going to be hard for me to switch to another target quickly enough. So I don't usually try to go into long range gunfights. Now, comparing the reflex, or red dot, I like to call it the red dot, to the ELO, for basically the same thing. How is the ELO better?
Well, it's kind of how it's aimed. Like the ELO, the dot itself is zoomed in and it moves like, it's kind of hard to describe. It's more like a more zoomed in version of reflex, but not that much more zoomed in. It's just they're similar styles and they're just two different takes on the short range sight.
I personally like the reflex more because it gives me more stuff to aim for in terms of reticles to unlock.
Yeah, I think it depends which one's better. Depends on the guns. I like the ELO because it's a little bit better at longer range, but I mean it's very similar to the reflex. They're very similar.
The main difference for me when I'm using the reflex versus the ELO, because on a lot of guns I use regularly, I have them both unlocked. The reflex, it has that piece of metal along the top of it to fully encase the, I'm guessing it's glass in the center that the laser's being displayed onto. So that piece of metal on top can actually, it's very small when I'm actually playing, but it just annoys me, and I like to be able to see over that. Recon, that has a bit of zoom.
It's basically never the right choice, pretty much ever. Maybe on an LMG, but it's basically the right choice.
According to this website, it increases your fire rate by 1. Can you please explain to me how a sight would affect your fire rate whatsoever?
I'm betting that's a typo, and they meant to put it under range, because
I would hope so.
I have not noticed any increases in fire rate when I equip the sight. If so, if for some reason the sight increases the fire rate, then I don't know why everyone would not use it. Why everyone just doesn't put this on every gun.
IMHO.
It's pretty similar to the Recon. And
except it has better zoom, I believe, right?
It does have better zoom. I think they're both. It's just pretty bad. You might take it in some cases in LMG, but usually you get it's such a loss in ADS time. I have the time it takes you for when you click the button to zoom in before you can actually ready to shoot when you're fully zoomed in. That it's not worth it on any SMG definitely, and most assault rifles. It's just they have pretty good range and accuracy anyway, and that if you focus only on the long range, then you're going to lose the short range and mid range gunfights.
Yeah,
I get some of the guns that
but
don't have that.
when I was doing my video on how to get rid of campers on Infection, which I know has come in handy for at least a couple people, I recommended using the MatriX just because it gives you a little bit of magnification. I think it gives you more magnification than the Recon, so you don't have to just take a guess while using like the Gorgon against the as an anti-sniper, because for ranges, if you're sniping from, well, not sniping, if you're trying to take out the sniper from anywhere, even mid-map, I kind of want to have a little bit of a zoom sight, so that way I have at least a better idea of where he is.
Yeah, on a map like Infection, it's not too bad. So, like first on
Yeah.
like an LMG, I still probably wouldn't take it on an assault rifle, even on
I wouldn't.
like Infection.
I would never take it on an assault rifle unless there's like an achievement or I need that to like gold it or something.
Yeah, it's not optimal.
Yeah. Boa 3. I
I think it's
Man.
I think it's the best out of the BOA, the Varix, or the Recon. I think of like the long range magnification. I don't really like it, but it's not too bad. There are you could make a case for some like maybe like the Mana War or something. It's not going to be optimal, but like maybe like a second choice, you know,
Mhm. Yeah.
like something very specific.
If that I've never really used the Boa 3 to be honest. I'm not sure if I've ever actually used that on any of my classes.
Yeah, it's fine.
Thermal, I actually really enjoy using this sight because it's just so mean.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. Again, it's basically like the Recon sight, but now you can see heat signatures. It's like the same thing,
Yeah.
which does make it better, and it certainly helps your accuracy.
Hmm.
But it's still, when it comes down to it, it's still a Recon sight. So unless you're using an LMG, I wouldn't really recommend it. But on an LMG, um,
It's highly situational.
yeah, generally, I don't know. I guess the ELO is probably better on most LMGs, but it's not terrible. Like it's perfectly fine.
I I think I would prefer the ELO on an LMG, but like I said, it's situational, and the ELO has much lower actual ADS time, and I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure that ELO actually has faster ADS time than the Reflex, which is why it's unlocked last.
I'm not. I don't know. Maybe I'm not sure. I don't. But that's certainly possible.
So moving on to the attachments, Quick Draw, I personally see no reason to put that on the AK because its ADS time is very good as is.
See, I disagree. I think on basically every single SMG and assault rifle, you should take quick draw. I think it's basically the best attachment in the game because if you ever happen to go up against like the same gun or a similar gun and you have it and they don't, you're going to win the gunfight almost 100% of the time. Because gunfights, are, especially short and close range, are all about whoever fires first. Because whoever hits the other person first is just doing more damage. You know, unless the other person's like a god at aiming or something, which you generally assume that most people are within the same general skill level. So it's going to be whoever has the advantage in the gunfight, whoever hits first, and the quick draw allows you to do that.
I would take it in the beginning until I start unlocking stuff like, stock, FMJ, fast mag, stuff like that, which I find more useful. Um,
Mm.
because I like using SMGs or the KN a lot, I'm usually in the close quarter gunfights, and for usually I try to stay in places where the gunfights are close enough so that I don't really need to ADS.
Yeah, yeah. For something like if you're using some guns that you're not going to ADS with, obviously it's not that good. But if you ever are using guns that do want to do that, it's basically
Yeah.
the strongest attachment in my opinion.
I would recommend it on LMGs, definitely.
Yeah, you do kind of need that, though. Yeah, it's pretty good on LMGs.
Now, usually, if I have a choice between quick draw or grip, I will usually choose the grip just because recoil, I always have had a problem with, and I have trouble controlling the recoil in almost every single weapon category.
Yeah, they kind of fulfill different roles. I think I think you should basically you should try to take both when if at all possible. Grip
Yeah.
like it doesn't really help you in close range matches, but it's extremely useful in medium and long range.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's pretty good, but also it's very similar to quick draw in that it only works if you're actually got an ADS. If you don't ever aim down the sight, it literally does nothing for you. But
Yeah.
it's really strong. I like it on the KN, especially it helps you beat the longer range weapons. Like if you're some of the enemies are using like mana wars or such, this will help you
Yeah.
deal with them.
Suppressor, I see no reason to use this unless I'm going with like an assassin class or playing, or well, on hardcore it's basically useless.
Yeah, I find the suppressor on most assault rifles is just it's not worth it because the loss in range is just so high. On
Yeah.
some SMGs though, it has found success. Like for the Kuda, is one
Hmm.
SMG where like it's almost mandatory. It's like the optimal class setup for the Kuda involves the suppressor. So on some SMGs, it's pretty good, but on assault rifles, it's definitely not worth it. It's been nerfed since previous Call of Duties.
Yeah. High caliber, I don't see too much of a reason to use this.
It's almost like random getting headshots. Like you can try to aim for the head, but a lot of the time it's just gonna be slightly random. So, I mean, sometimes you can take this, but like it just feels like a waste of a slot most of
Yeah.
the time. Unless like I don't know, you're against snipers who stand still or something. But most of the time you're not gonna be able to just guarantee that you're gonna get a headshot. So the extra damage just is kind of worthless. It's not doing anything.
Yeah. So, then, that being said, I agree with what you said there. For stock, now, if I look at MW3 perks, just give me one moment.
I don't believe this had stock.
This.
I don't believe MW3 had stock.
It didn't have stock, but it did have Stalker, which was the
Oh, yeah.
equivalent, except as a perk.
Yes.
So, yeah, and I mean, in survival mode, it costs $4,000, which, I mean, it makes sense for how good Stalker actually was. I bought it every single time.
Yeah. Stock as an attachment, I think it's just like I don't know. It kind of feels like you need quick draw grip in order to be effective with it because stock gives you makes you move faster when you're aiming down the sight. So you need to be aiming down the sight a lot to make use of it, and it doesn't really help you when you're actually like fighting like in the middle of a gunfight because strafing it's not going to be that useful. Generally you use it like checking around corners and just the general mobility where you can aim first. And you
Yeah.
kind of need quick draw for that unless you like never want to get out of ADS and so you're just walking around with your sight up all the time. So I don't really like stock that much. I think on some classes you can take it, but most of the time I feel like it's better just take your quick draw grip and then you can just bring up the gun, bring up your sights really fast when you run corners, so you don't really need the point of stock.
Yeah. Laser sight, no thank you.
No, not even on SMGs. I wouldn't even take this. It's just not.
Yeah, the only place I might take it is on the Argus, which I know it's a shotgun, is terrible in close quarter, though.
Yeah, though I mean, even for the Argus, sometimes you might just want an ADS just to get the guaranteed shot. So it's not that good. Probably one of the worst attachments.
Probably. I mean, back in MW3, I liked putting lasers on the ACR for some reason.
I don't know. I don't know about that. ACR has really good iron sights.
That's true. It did have very good iron sights. I can't argue with that. It's just one of those things where if you're putting laser sight and you don't have like the pick 10 or whatever the current class setup is styled.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's a pick 10.
Yeah, it is. Yes.
If you're using that, then either you're stupid or you're using a type of class where you just don't even care what you put on it. You just want to put something on it to take up a slot.
Yeah.
FMJ, I really do like this one, but only on LMGs for obvious reasons.
Yeah, I feel like there's absolutely no reason to take this on assault rifles or some machine guns. Just I don't even think you can take it on SMGs. I'm not sure, but regardless, you shouldn't. And
Yeah.
for assault rifles, it's just not very good at all. But LMGs, it makes sense since they already have really high just base bullet penetration, so this helps you kill people through walls and stuff, which can be pretty useful in certain circumstances.
I always use this in my anti-camper class, and I use it in combination with a rocket launcher to flush out campers.
Yeah, it's really good for things like campers. If you know where someone is behind a wall, then it's like basically like a free kill.
Exactly, and that's why on anti-camper classes I always recommend the UAV.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. That's it's really good in combination with things like that.
Um, then fast mags, I think it's really good, but primarily on slow reloading guns, of which the KN is definitely not one.
I think fast mags is one of the. I think it's just good on like everything because
It's yeah,
it's
it's
just
good
so
on
useful.
everything.
I think. I think it's better
It's
than extended mags in most guns.
Yes, I personally think that it's better than extended mags for guns that have over 30 ammo. Because if you have less than 30, unless your gunfire is really, really slow, you want more ammo than that.
Yeah, though I mean they do kind of fulfill the same point. Like extended mags means you
Yeah.
can fire longer without having to reload, and fast mags just means you get to reload faster, so you can get to shooting faster. I like fast mags a lot. I think it's definitely you should take this in most assault rifle classes and some
Yeah.
SMGs just because it's just really useful. Not having downtime is really important, especially for such a fast paced game. So
Yeah.
I really like it.
Extended mag, well, we basically discussed that in combination with the fast
Yeah,
mags.
it's good too, just usually not as good.
Yeah. Long barrel, I always take this on my anti-camper class as well, so that I can snip people from further away.
Yeah, long barrel. It's pretty good on some assault rifles. I think it's stronger on some SMGs where you're not going for the up close and just like hip firing people down. If you want to put it on longer range SMGs to try to be able to duel assault rifles, it's pretty good on some assault rifles. It's not that great, but it's it can. It's not terrible.
Now, I
Average.
would maybe take it on the KN because the KN only has 8 points out of 20 for range.
Yeah, it's not that bad. It's pretty good on the KN. It allows you. It's similar. Long barrel is kind of like taking a better sight. Like if you pair it with the Elo or the Reflex, it's kind of like you
Yeah.
took the Recon or the Varix or the Bow or whatever, but you don't have the downside of the super long EDS time. So if you have an
Yeah.
extra slot, it's pretty good.
Uh, oh boy, rapid fire. Let me just say, rapid fire in combination with the Vesper and extended mags.
I like the VMP. Rapid Fire is a really, really good attachment. It's often banned in tournaments. It's so good.
Yeah.
There's almost no situation where you don't want Rapid Fire, like on almost any gun. It's just it lets you kill people faster, just flat out.
Yeah.
You
I, w-
generally,
I wouldn't. I would never take it on the KN because the KN actually has 15 points of fire rate.
I
So,
think it's pretty good on the KN and most assault rifles, though.
well, yeah, because then it starts to fire like a VMP.
Yeah, though you generally would need to take like the grip with it because it really,
Yeah,
really
you need to have
changes the
a way
recoil.
to a way to tame the recoil because you're going to have a lot more than usual.
Yeah, but like rapid fire is kind of like the close range version of long barrel. Long barrel helps you duel people better at long range, and rapid fire doesn't really help with that. And rapid fire helps you kill people at short range, where long barrel doesn't really help with that. So,
Yeah.
like,
So, what would be your recommended loadout in terms of attachments to use in combination with the KN?
okay, well, let's see. How many points would you have? You have the KN, which is 1 point. You have your 3 perks, so you have
You have one slot for you have one slot. Let's say you have one slot for a sight and one slot for. Let's make it two
two
slots
slots for
for
attachments.
attachments.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I would take
you get two slots without using the specialists, right? Or the
yeah, yeah, you do.
wild card.
Sure you do. I would probably take the Elo site as my site for the KN. I think that's probably the best choice just overall. The reflex is pretty similar, but really good as
Hmm.
well. And for my attachments, if I had access to all of them, um, I'd probably take quick draw, and then I would take either fast mags or grip. Is what I would take if I just had access to two attachments.
Now, me being me, I wouldn't use any perks. I wouldn't use anything. I would go reflex, quick draw, grip, stock, fast mags, extended mag, and long barrel. And maybe instead of stock, I would go with rapid fire.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't choose the stock.
Yeah, it's pretty situational. And even even if you're in the right situation, unless you're planning on chasing the person, and who the heck does that in Call of Duty?
Rarely do people just get away because you know most
Yeah,
guns kill people in a really short amount of time, just under 2 seconds generally for most guns. So getting away is difficult.
yeah. So all in all, KM44, it's a really good gun because it has a very high damage output for with its fire rate. If you just take a look at it too, it has a very high damage output. Its accuracy is surprisingly low, but it's not intended to be used at LMG sniper rifle range.
Yeah, the KN-44 is one of the best guns in the game. It's very easy to use. It's like the generalist weapon where it's unlocked at level 1, where
Yeah,
most every Call of Duty has had the generalist assault rifle that's unlocked at rank 1, and this is one of the best versions of the generalist assault rifle that they have in Black Ops 3. It's one of the best than in other previous Call of Duties. It's really good. It's not that hard to use since it basically does everything a good amount.
yeah.
So it's definitely one of the best guns.
So, I think we basically discussed everything there is to discuss for KM44. I think I will release this as a separate podcast. Unfortunately, it only went like just over 20 minutes, but what can you do? So, thank you guys for watching. Please like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next episode.